78,000 nurses, 22 years, and 1 soda a day. Gout showed up 74% more often than in the women who had one a month. But the same study checked diet soda. Diet soda did nothing. Not the fizz, not the caffeine, not the cold glass in your hand, the sugar. And if you have gout, you have spent years giving up shrimp while that sugar sat in your refrigerator door. I'm going to show you what is actually driving your uric acid and the 2-week test that settles it. I spent years in an American emergency room, and gout is one of the few things that comes through the door at 2 in the morning where the patient already knows exactly what it is. They know the joint, they know the night. What they don't know is why it keeps happening. Because they did what they were told. They gave up the steak, they gave up the shrimp. And the flares kept coming. So here is the reframe, and it is the whole video. The question isn't which foods to ban. The question is what's actually driving your urate. And for most Americans, it isn't the steak. Urate is just uric acid once it's floating in your blood. Same thing. 2 names. By the end, you'll know where your uric acid actually comes from, which single ingredient does something no other carbohydrate does, how to spot it on an American label in 4 seconds, and what a hot, swollen joint with a fever means. Because that last one isn't a diet problem at all. Marvin is 59, and he owns a diner outside Nashville. His first flare hit his left big toe at 4 in the morning. He described it as someone parking a car on his foot. His doctor said the word gout, and Marvin did what a serious man does. Off the menu, at home. Shrimp, liver, anchovies, every steak he loved. He was proud of that list. He showed it to me, folded, out of his wallet. What stayed? The gallon of sweet tea on the counter, because sweet tea isn't food. Orange juice with breakfast, because orange juice is healthy. And the barbecue sauce he squeezed onto everything, from a bottle whose second ingredient was high-fructose corn syrup. 2 years of discipline. Same 3 flares a year. Marvin wasn't failing. Marvin was optimizing the wrong variable. Start with the number you've already heard, because it gets quoted constantly, and it gets quoted wrong. 2010, the Journal of the American Medical Association. Researchers followed 78,906 women in the Nurses' Health Study for 22 years and counted 778 new cases of gout. 1 sugar-sweetened soda a day. 74% higher risk than the women drinking less than 1 a month. 2 or more a day, about 2.5 times the risk. Now, you'll see 97% quoted online for that second number. It's real, but it belongs to a different row. For colas, the number everyone repeats is the soft one. 2 honest things, because you should know when I'm handing you something soft. It's 15 years old, and it's observational. It watched people and counted. On its own, it cannot prove the soda caused the gout. So why do I trust the direction of it? Because of the row nobody quotes. Diet soda. Same women. Same questionnaires. Same 22 years. Risk. Unchanged. Sit with that. Same can. Same fizz. Same caffeine. Same habit. Same chair. Same hand. Take the sugar out and the signal vanishes. That is not what a coincidence looks like. That is what a mechanism looks like. So, where does uric acid actually come from? It's the exhaust your body leaves behind when it dismantles purines. Purines are building blocks of DNA, so every cell you have and every cell you eat is packed with them. Take a purine apart far enough, and uric acid is what's at the bottom. Your kidneys flush it. When you make too much or flush too little, it climbs in the blood and eventually comes out of solution as crystals, needle-shaped, in the coldest, farthest joint you own, usually the big toe. Here's the part that should change what you do on Monday. Isotope studies, where researchers tag purines and follow them through the body, Put the purines you eat at about 1/3 of your urate pool. The other 2/3, your own body builds. From your own cells, turning over, every day, whether you eat anything at all. Read that again. Most of the uric acid in your blood right now never came from a plate. So what happens when you ban seafood? Purine-rich foods do raise urate. That's real, and I won't pretend otherwise. But they move a minority of a minority, a slice of the 1/3 food controls at all. The urate you can push down by cutting purines alone is small. Small enough that most people who do it perfectly still flare. Exactly what happened to Marvin. I know what some of you are thinking. So diet doesn't matter and you can eat what you want. No. Diet matters enormously here. It just matters through a door nobody showed you. And that door is fructose. Here's the sentence I want you to keep. Of every carbohydrate you eat, exactly one is known to drive uric acid up. Not bread, not rice, not potatoes, not oatmeal, fructose. Why? Because of how your liver handles it. And it is genuinely strange. Think of every cell you own as running on a rechargeable battery. That battery is called ATP, the energy currency a cell spends to do anything at all. When you eat glucose, which is what bread and rice become, your liver spends a little battery just to grab hold of it. But glucose has a break. The enzyme doing the grabbing gets feedback. Too much product. Slow down. The cell protects its own battery. Fructose has no break. The enzyme that grabs fructose is called fructokinase, and it is unregulated. It grabs fructose as fast as fructose arrives. And when you drink a soda, fructose arrives all at once. No fiber, no chewing, no delay. So your liver spends battery so fast that ATP drops through the floor. Now watch what the cell does next, because this is the part nobody explains. When ATP crashes, the cell is left holding drained batteries. Those spent batteries are called AMP, and AMP piles up. That pile flips on an enzyme called AMP deaminase, which does exactly one job. It takes those spent purines and tears them apart for salvage. AMP to IMP. IMP to inosine, inosine to hypoxanthine, to xanthine, and at the end of that line, uric acid. Do you see what just happened? Your liver isn't only failing to clear urate. Your liver is manufacturing it out of your own purines, on demand, because you handed it a sugar with no break. Here's the picture I use. Glucose is a worker who checks his wallet before he spends. Fructose is a worker who empties the register the second the money hits the drawer, and when the register is empty, he starts selling the furniture for parts. The furniture is your own cells. The parts are uric acid. Bread does not do this. Steak hands your body purines and lets it break them down. Soda makes your body break down its own. That is the difference between a food that adds to the pile and a food that starts a fire. So, the real worst foods list writes itself. And notice, it isn't a list of proteins. It's a list of delivery speeds. Number 1. And it isn't close. Sugar-sweetened soda. A 12-ounce can carries about 39 grams of sugar, half of it fructose, hitting your liver inside 2 minutes. Number 2. Fruit juice. I'm coming back to that one, because it makes people angry. Number 3 is the one you can't taste. High-fructose corn syrup sits in the American cart in places that have nothing to do with dessert. Barbecue sauce, ketchup, sandwich bread, the plain sliced loaf on the shelf at Kroger, salad dressing, flavored yogurt with the fruit on the bottom, granola bars with a mountain printed on the box. Sweet tea, which in half this country isn't a beverage, it's a utility. So here's the 4-second skill, and it's free. Turn the package around. 2 places to look. First, the ingredients list. You're hunting high fructose corn syrup. It also travels as corn syrup, corn sweetener, crystalline fructose, and fruit juice concentrate, the polite name for the same thing. Ingredients run by weight, heaviest first. If any of those land in the top 3, that product is a sugar wearing a costume. Second, newer and better, the added sugars line. The FDA rewrote the nutrition facts panel, and big manufacturers had to comply by 2020. So every label now declares added sugars separately from the sugar already in the food. The daily value they set is 50 grams, about 12 teaspoons. 1 can of soda spends most of your day before lunch. You don't have to become a nutritionist. You have to become someone who turns the bottle around. So here's that angry part. Hear all of it before you quit oranges. Whole fruit is not soda. I know how that sounds. Fruit has fructose in it, so shouldn't an apple do the same thing? It doesn't. In that same nurse's health study data, total fruit intake was not associated with gout at all. A 2019 meta-analysis pooled the prospective cohorts and found the same split. Soda, harmful. Fruit juice, harmful. Whole fruit, no signal. Why? Your liver doesn't care what a sugar is called. It cares how fast it shows up. An apple is fructose wrapped in fiber, water, and structure. You have to chew it. It leaves your stomach slowly. The fructose trickles in, and a trickle never crashes the battery. A soda is the same molecule with the packaging stripped off, arriving all at once. Same cargo. Different delivery speed. That is the entire difference. Which brings us back to juice. Here is the number that should stop you. Same study. Orange juice. 1 6-ounce glass a day. 41% higher risk of gout. 2 or more glasses, about 2.5 times. Almost exactly what the soda did. Juice is fruit with the brakes taken off. It behaves like soda because, as far as your liver can tell, it is. So do not walk out of here having quit oranges and kept the orange juice. That's backwards, and it's the most common mistake I saw. Eat the orange, skip the glass, which brings me to what you find when you search this at midnight. Some of it is wrong. Some is expensive. And a whole category of it quietly wastes years. I've had patients walk in with elaborate systems built around heavy water and mitochondria, and which foods grow above or below the ground. None of it tested. All of it confident. All of it aimed at the wrong variable while the sweet tea sat right there on the counter. I won't repeat those claims. Repeating them is how they spread. 3. Because they're everywhere. Cherry juice. You've heard it's a cure. It isn't. The most rigorous test we have randomized 50 people with gout to tart cherry concentrate or placebo for 28 days, then measured urate and counted flares. Nothing. No effect on either. If cherries help you, that effect is small, and it's yours to keep. But it is not treatment, and it will not hold your urate down. Detox water, lemon water, apple cider vinegar, whatever it's branded as this year. Water helps you, and I'll show you how in a minute. But nothing you stir into it detoxes urate. Your kidneys do that. They're not waiting on a lemon. And the one that does real harm, banning vegetables. Someone tells you spinach, asparagus, mushrooms, and cauliflower are high in purines, so out they go. Here's what the USDA and the NIH measured when they rebuilt the National Purine Database. 462 foods published last year. Legumes and vegetables landed between 9 and 72 milligrams per 100 grams, and plant purines don't carry the risk signal animal purines do. Their own documentation warns that patchy vegetable numbers drive undue dietary restriction. Translation: you gave up the broccoli for nothing. Take it back tonight. Alcohol belongs on the list. I'll be quick, because you know this one. Beer is worst. Purines from the yeast, and it blocks your kidneys from dumping urate. Both ends at once. Spirits raise, urate too. Wine is gentlest, which is not the same word as free. And if you drink and you flare, the binge matters more than the average. It's the Saturday, not the arithmetic. Now the part I'd never forgive myself for skipping. A hot, swollen, brutally painful joint is not automatically gout. It can be an infected joint, bacteria sitting in the joint space, and that is a surgical emergency. It destroys cartilage in days. It does not care that you have a gout history, and gout does not protect you from it. In the emergency room, we don't guess. We put a needle in the joint and look at the fluid, because those two cannot be told apart by how much it hurts. So here is the line I want in your head tonight. Hot, swollen joint plus fever or chills. A joint getting rapidly worse over hours instead of a day. You're on chemotherapy or steroids, you have a joint replacement in there, or the red is spreading across the skin. Any of those, you need to be seen the same day. Not a diet change, not wait and see. Urgent care if it's an evening or a weekend and you can still walk, which is far faster and far cheaper than an emergency room. The ER if you can't bear weight or the fever is high, and if you're confused, shaking, or sick all over on top of it, that's infection escaping the joint. That's 9/11. Don't drive yourself. I know an ER bill is a real reason people wait. I watched people wait. Getting that joint tapped and sent home is a good outcome. That is not wasting anyone's time. A flare that's just a flare, though? No fever, familiar joint, the pattern you know? That's a phone call to your doctor's office in the morning, not an ambulance. So what do? 3 things. None of them ask you to give up a food you love. 1. The 2-week swap. For 14 days, every sweetened drink becomes an unsweetened one. Soda, sweet tea, juice, flavored coffee, sports drink. Not forever. 14 days. Diet soda is allowed, and I'm saying that on purpose, because that's the row of the table that showed nothing. Water is better. But this is a test, not a religion. And a test only works if you move one variable. 2. The flare log. Paper, phone, back of a receipt, I don't care. 3 columns. Which joint? What day and hour it started? How long until you could put a sock on? Keep it 3 months. A log is the only thing that turns, I think it's a little better, into something your doctor can act on. Memory edits, and it edits in your favor. 3. Get the number. A uric acid level is one of the cheapest tests in American medicine, a routine blood draw, often riding along on a panel you're already having done. At your next visit, say this: I'd like a serum uric acid level, and I want the number. Write it down. Get it again in 3 months, after the swap. 2 numbers and a log is a conversation. 1 flare and a feeling is not. If you're 65 or older, your Medicare annual wellness visit costs you nothing. No copay, no deductible. Most people never use it. That's the visit to bring the log to. And water. Free and not nothing. A study of people with recurring gout found those who'd had 8 or more glasses in the previous 24 hours were about half as likely to be in a flare. That design is a hint, not proof. But your kidneys are the thing doing the flushing. Give them something to flush with. And one thing I will never tell you, don't stop or change a prescription over anything in this video. If you're on a urate-lowering drug, food is the passenger. The drug is the engine. Take it. Let me bring this together, because the whole video compresses to 1 sentence. Most of your uric acid is made by you, not eaten by you. So the food that matters most isn't the one with purines in it. It's the one that makes your liver manufacture purines out of your own cells. That's fructose, delivered fast. Which means soda, juice, and the corn syrup in the barbecue sauce beat the shrimp, the steak, and the spinach by a distance nobody told you about. What to stop? Fast fructose. What to start? Turning the bottle around, reading the added sugars line. What to monitor? 1 uric acid number and a 3-column log. And what to take back? The broccoli, the mushrooms, the fish. Marvin kept the shrimp, by the way. He gave up the sweet tea. swapped one bottle of barbecue sauce, and went from 3 flares a year to 1. The year he stopped chasing purines and started reading labels. You don't need perfection here. You need 14 days and a bottle turned around. If someone you love has gout and a soda in their hand right now, send them this. They have probably been apologizing to a plate of shrimp for years.